I'm Jake Hoffman.
And this is Moderately Outraged. This week we have some massive bombshells, and they're all about China. So you remember that Hunter Biden laptop story that we totally weren't allowed to talk about, and the media said had all the signs of being a Russian hoax? Well, guess what? Now the media is saying it's all true. All of it. And apparently he has been under a DOJ investigation for 2 years. And the media covered it up because of his ties to China.
Yeah, and not only just that, if you want more China news this week, Congressman Eric Swalwell, best known for farting on TV, on live television, before Rudy Giuliani did it, and we made fun of him, so we're going to definitely go back and make fun of Eric Swalwell again for it. Equal opportunity here on Moderately Outraged. Objectively funny farts are objectively funny. And so we want to talk a little bit more about the fact that he was dating a spy, a Chinese spy in California.
Years.
And because of the fact that the Democratic Party is so easily manipulated and so easily infiltrated by China, this entire episode is going to be dedicated to the actual very serious influence that China has on the Democratic Party and on a Biden administration.
Yeah, absolutely. And the reason that the Eric Swalwell story is so significant is because everybody sits there and a lot of Democrats go, Russia's our biggest enemy. They're number one. And I've straight up asked some of my Democratic friends, don't you think that we should maybe look at China and their immigrants the same way that we treat Russian immigrants? Which is, we treat them in the sense that, like, the Cold War never ended. There is a hint of skepticism, and I'm not saying, of course, not all Russians are here to do, to work on behalf of their government, and neither are all Chinese people. But there is a hint of skepticism that should be there, and so many Democrats that I've talked to have gone, no, that's racist. The Chinese might be an economic threat, but they're not they're not really a national threat. This is proof that they are infiltrating our country. They are infiltrating our government. Eric Swalwell was a congressman, and he was dating a spy.
He was a presidential candidate on the Democratic Party.
Yeah.
Presidential candidate was dating a spy on the Democratic Party. That, again, just the tip of the iceberg. There are mayors, there are governors, there are Nancy Pelosi, Dianne Feinstein. All of these people had Chinese spies working within their administration, and then recently Nancy Pelosi even said, doesn't matter, we don't need to do background checks on interns the same way. It's, again,
are you serious?
Yeah, seriously.
Oh my God.
Because they think it's not that big of a deal. They think this kind of thing happens, let's just move on, but they're trying to sweep it all under the rug. It should not be swept under the rug. This is the biggest threat that this country faces, is that we have a communist power on the other side of the globe that is secretly sending people to our country, infiltrating our politics, our universities, and a plethora of other high institutions like Wall Street, where they're trying to influence United States policy in favor of China. And it's been going on for decades.
Yeah, absolutely. And let's just be clear. The reason the Democratic Party is so susceptible to being infiltrated is because they don't want to be racist. They don't want to be racist against the Chinese. And, like when Trump tried to shut the border down at the beginning of the coronavirus.
Nancy Pelosi said that we need to go out and hug people in Chinatown.
Yeah, literally. And it's like their desperation to not be racist is making them blind to actual threats to America. And that should be, it should be very more important to protect America as a whole than to maybe offend somebody a little bit.
Yeah, and
that's my opinion. And I want to be clear that we are not saying that Chinese people are bad. It is the Chinese government. It is the Russian government. So when we speak about that, it's not the people, it's the government, and it's the people that work on behalf of their governments. And that's a problem. That is something that we have to look at them as not a friendly, power. They are a hostile power.
Well, that's why there's been so much talk over the past couple of years by the Trump administration about bringing manufacturing back from China, particularly in emergency equipment and things that are going to be needed if there's, a pandemic, and we need masks and vaccines and things that we do not want produced. We don't want these things produced in China, because let's be honest with ourselves. How many of you guys in the comments think that the coronavirus was actually a bioweapon sent over from China on purpose? Go ahead, let us know. There's very much that very real possibility. If you have to think about that, then we should not be doing the same type of business that we've been doing for the past 2 decades. And we, as much free trade as I want to see happen, as libertarian as I am, we should not be aiding Communist Party in another country. We should not be giving them our dollars in the same type of way that we have been, when we opened trade up to China in the 90s. We really need to start looking at these policies hard, and especially the influence that they have on the Democratic Party, because these are going to be friendly policies to China in the upcoming Biden administration because of the fact that, one, Hunter Biden is compromised, we know that. Joe Biden is compromised. They have been taking billions of dollars from China, and all of the proof is in a laptop, and multiple laptops under this DOJ investigation has been going on for 2 years, and now we're allowed to look into it. So maybe, just maybe, somebody in the media will do their job and do some journalism and actually dig and see if we can find this. And if they do have enough information to actually impeach Joe Biden in the same way that they did for Donald Trump, well, then that might just all be
Harris presidency,
which kind of just goes along with the plan, doesn't it?
Yeah, kind of sounds a lot like it. And I want to say, on the flip side of what you said, if we ask you, do you think that China released the coronavirus as a bioweapon, and you immediately answer no chance, no way. You're blind, and you don't want to, and you just don't want to seem like a racist, or you don't want to seem
conspiracy
like a conspiracy theorist. I'm not saying that they did release it. What I'm saying is that however it got out, they did nothing to stop it. They did nothing to stop the spread. They did nothing to contain it. They didn't help us. They literally allowed it to travel all around the world, so then they could reopen their economy and they could try to become the biggest economic superpower.
Yeah, and I know that
has been their goal for a long time.
And I know that people don't want to think about the fact that maybe China's lying to us about their statistics. Again, I've heard people on the left that say that look at how well China's done. They shut down the country. They locked things down. You know what? They locked things down. There are so many millions of people dead right now in China in mass graves. Number one, because they didn't care about their medical, safety once this coronavirus did happen. And then two, they've completely closed all of their borders to anybody that's doing journalism, anybody that's foreign trying to actually see what's happening in their country for the last 8 months or so. Plus, again, let's talk about it. They have concentration camps full of millions of Uyghurs that we have been talking about for almost a year now that nobody seems to care about. We even wrote an entire article about it on BizPack Review. We'll drop the link in somewhere on the comments. And thank you again for Conservative News Today for allowing us to publish this type of thing, because somehow we're the only people talking about this. We're the only people talking about the fact that we are aiding a communist party that has concentration camps. And I think by the time that everybody wakes up from this COVID craziness for the last year, they're going to figure out that they came back and they just sat by while the largest genocide that's happened in human history was happening on the other side of the country while everybody was quiet.
The other side of the world. And
on the other side of the world.
The party is the party of inclusivity and being nice and one life is just too many. That's what their party is. Yet they aid and abet a country that kills and has more human rights abuses than almost any other country on the planet. Literally. I mean, it is dumbfounding that they just close their eyes to it and don't care. Yeah. But meanwhile, they say everything that's going on in America is wrong. Everything we do is so wrong. And I'm not saying that we can't reflect on ourselves, but how is China the people that we should be looking at and with reverence or any sort of respect? We should be keeping China in check, and I don't know why we don't. China is what keeps me up at night. It is the single biggest global issue that keeps me up at night. And it should keep you up at night too.
Yeah, and let's talk about why nothing gets done about it. It's because the media covers for it. Because, again, most likely Chinese influence in the media, Chinese money in Wall Street and big tech and all of those different places, because big tech covered for this Hunter Biden story 2 weeks before the election. We need to talk about it because we came on here and we talked about the Hunter Biden laptop story and people called us crazy and people said that we were disseminating Russian disinformation. Vox said this, I'm going to read you his exact quote. The Justice Department appropriately managed to keep quiet about this during the 2020 campaign. So what does that actually mean? That means that they are happy. The left is happy that the Justice Department did not leak this information and influence the 2020 election. That means that they are saying that the Justice Department would have actually affected the election if people known about this Hunter Biden scandal, about this investigation. These are the things that people need to know before an election, before electing a president, right?
Little bit. Could you imagine if it was flipped around and during this election that we found out that Don Jr. was under investigation for for anything, but especially for conspiring with China.
And that DOJ covered it up
Yeah.
for 2 years, not releasing the information, and then the media and big tech covered it as if it were false. People need to wake up.
People would be infuriated if that happened. Like every single liberal that I know would lose their mind if it was done for Donald Trump, but because it was done for the guy that you like it's okay. No, it's not okay. It's destroying our institutions. It's a problem. Where did journalism go? Seriously.
Yeah, and again, this is a concerted effort to go in by both big tech and the media to change the entire narrative of what you're seeing around this country. The propaganda machine is alive and well. I mean, we talked about it a few weeks ago. You can go back to the 80s and listen to Noam Chomsky, okay? The leftist, hippie that Noam Chomsky is, talking about the propaganda that the media had because they constantly covered for the president. Well, for 4 years they stopped covering for the president, and they actually attacked the president under Donald Trump. Now, under Joe Biden, we are going right back to that propaganda model. So it's people on the right that are saying this now. It used to be people on the left. People on the left, people on the outside of the political institutions, they were the ones saying, hey, the media's lying to us about Reagan and Vietnam and about Nixon and about all of these things. People were very skeptical about the media on the left, 40 years ago. Now, millennials, didn't, I guess nobody understands history. They don't know that these type of things happen. But for the last 4 years, we've seen what happens when the media turns against the president and entirely covers up for the Democratic Party and the establishment, and now they are right back to defending that, and that is how you end up with all of the populism that's going to come from what's happening this year. That is exactly where this country is headed. We are going back to a place where the people are going to eventually have to take back this country. The people are going to have to stand up and get rid of these weak Republican leaders, get rid of these, corrupted, communist, spy-intruded Democratic Party leaders that are out there.
I can't believe that's literally coming out of your mouth, and it's a real thing. It is insane. And one of the things too that really gets me is that Democrats' favorite word is gaslighting. Every time I'm in a Facebook argument with someone, I bet you know this too, some liberal will go, you're gaslighting me, when you give them real information or real facts. The media literally gaslit us about this. What gaslighting is when there's a concerted effort to make you believe something that is not true. That is, that make you believe something
or something that did happen
is false.
Never happened.
Yeah.
And now they're going back and trying to erase history, right? They're going to have to, they're maybe issuing apologies, maybe issuing redactions on some of these media stories.
There's no way they will.
But at that point, the damage is already done. The damage was done 2 weeks before the election when you covered up the entire story.
When you said it had all the signs of a Russian hoax.
Or when the DOJ refuses to admit that there's actually an investigation on the son of one of the current presidential candidates. I mean, insanity what's going on in this country right now. We are losing free media. We are losing, the government. And again, I think at this point, the only thing that we can do, other than make angry internet videos, is go up and again try to support what the Republicans are doing in Georgia for the next month or so. Right now, we need to support everything that they're doing to get the 2 senators elected over there. Donate if you can. Make calls if you can. If you can travel up there, we're gonna go travel up there in a couple weeks to make sure that we can walk and get these people elected, because we cannot lose the Senate to the Democrats and what's happening right now. Because if we have an entirely Democratic one-party system in Washington, you are going to see essentially the Chinese Communist Party take hold in Washington even more so than they already have. They spent the last couple decades infiltrating the Democratic Party, and now you are going to see the fruits of their labor. And they're laughing about it. They are laughing about it. If you have not seen the Tucker Carlson...
Tucker Carlson posted a video that is so unbelievable that it was posted by a professor in China. We'll post the link to it
as well.
Yeah, and they're literally laughing at us, saying, oh, we had it so good, everything was great until Trump came in, and then he was challenging us, which is why China has been trying to, influence our elections. And they said, we have Wall Street in our pockets. We have, we have had many people in
Washington
the
establishment.
Washington establishment in our pockets. And it's like, it should, so let me talk to like my moderates and my people who are, apolitical or just in the middle. You should want the Republicans to win, not, even if you're not Republican, but because it will provide oversight. It will provide a check and balance to what is going on, which is healthy. It's healthy for America. I mean, the markets don't even like it when, one party controls everything. So we should want some form of checks and balances, because if not, China will be controlling America, and that is not good. Let me explain on how many levels that's not good. China wants to be the only economic superpower. They see America as a tributary to their, economy and to their world. They are trying to reestablish the Silk Road, which they pretty much are doing. They're trying to reestablish the Indian Ocean Silk Road, which again, they're doing well. They're literally recolonizing Africa. And, on top, and probably the biggest concern is that the South China Sea, which is where the most shipping, the largest shipping lane in the world, and is supposed to be free for all countries. They are building barrier islands out into it, putting weaponry on it, and then saying it's Chinese, you can't go there. They are checking people. They can literally stop 80% of free trade. That's the concern.
Yeah, and so what we need in this country is aggressive anti-Chinese government policy. We need things like tariffs. We need things like returning manufacturing back from that country. We need to do everything we can to put America first. We've been talking about it for almost 6 years now. You need to put America first, and we need that type of policy, but we're not going to get that with a Joe Biden presidency, and we're definitely not going to get that unless the media decides to change their tune at some point and have some integrity somewhere and hold them accountable, hold Democrats accountable, and hold China accountable for what's going on, because we can't be the only ones to do it. We only get so many views on conservative news today. We only have so much say. But I do want to thank Conservative News Today and BizPack Review for having us on. If this episode did make you moderately outraged, please like, share, subscribe, and follow us at Moderately Outraged on Instagram. We will be back to you next week. Hopefully, again, Big Tech's going to eventually shut us down. Maybe try and find us on Parler. We might try Parler soon, too, as well.
Also, make sure you check out our article about the Uyghur genocide that is going on right now. Please look into it, find out what's happening, and please support the Republicans that are running for the Senate. Thank you. Have a great night.